What's going on, people? What's going on? Friday Night Life, and we got some new toys. So we decided to pay for StreamYard because we heard some good things about it. I tested it out yesterday. I feel like this is gonna be a good day. So bear with me just in case on some technical difficulties and all that good stuff. I got some people that's gonna join me today, which I like to do it. So let's get the preliminaries out the way. I am Antwan Brown, of course. You know who I am, my good people. I will let's see what's going on in the world right now. There's Dr. Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton had the march today and it was powerful. So hopefully some people will jump on and talk about that. I got one person in particular I think was down there. So I'm gonna ask her how it went. Uh You know how I feel about voting. If you didn't watch the RNC last week, it was a flip of America in a way that seemed very scary to me. So hopefully somebody can come on and talk about that. But go out and vote. They're pushing for us to get out. If you're going to vote by mail, to get it in by October the 20th. I'm saying to get it in by October the 15th. We got, if you look down on my new little ticker down there, it's how you request your ballot. It's easy. You could just text 7788 and then text something else, but it's floating down there. It'll bring you all the way up on your phone and you can walk through it. All you got to do is have your driver's license. So make sure you got your driver's license. And of course, you can remember your address and all that. So you text VBM to 7788. All right, let's see who we got first over here. Fee, whoever you bring in, that's what we're going to talk to. And we're gonna talk to first. You know how we do. And then anything we like to highlight a black business. We like to talk to the people about what's going on. And we got Trinita first. Hello, Miss Trinita. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Antwan?
Man, I can't complain at all. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate this.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
No problem. First, I like to always ask everybody that come and talk to me on Friday night, tell the people how you know me, and then we're gonna get into why you came on today.
Antwan, we go all the way back to 2019. No, I'm just kidding. We've known each other for years through your wife, Felicia. Um, and we've been friends ever since, from day
Ever
one.
since.
Yeah.
So I like it. So Trinita, I told Felicia to give you a call because I like to highlight a black business owner every Friday
Oh,
night. And you are the highlight of the night. So all my million fans get to witness and participate in whatever you got. So go ahead and tell everybody how, who you are, what you're doing, how they can get you, and we'll go through there.
Okay. So, like you said, my name is Sunita. I am one half of the FlyLytical podcast, and you can find that podcast wherever you listen to any of your favorite podcasts. And it's FL2YLYTICAL, and you can find us on social media everywhere with the same name.
All
So,
right.
and we actually just started season 2 last week, and we released our first episode of season 2 on Thursday, and we release every Thursday.
Every Thursday. All right. Well, Felicia just put it in the chat. It's across my screen. Hey, Trinita, I'm super excited about all this right here. I get stuff floating, stuff popping up. And then when people comment, that's going to come on the screen. I'm super excited about this because, I was getting a lot of issues about live. So this is doing it. So Trinita, I know, okay, I want that, but I want you to stick around because I've been telling Felicia for weeks that you've been saying some powerful things on your Facebook page about all the stuff that's going on in the world.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm gonna ask you to stick around because I know you used to co-hosting. So I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you stick around a little bit, and I'm gonna bring some people in, and we're gonna have a quick conversation. We only gonna be here for about an hour or shorter, however the conversation go. So
Okay.
whenever you have to leave, you can just jump off, and I'll understand. But I
I'm
would
here with
appreciate
you.
it if you stick around. All right,
I'm
let's
here
do
with
it,
you.
Trina. I appreciate it. So
Okay.
uh bring in, is Marcel here? Bring in Marcel first. Marcel's a good buddy of mine, and he has some things to say. Hey, Marcel, man, how you?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Listen, it's usually just me and you, but I asked Trinita to stick around because I
Yeah,
know
no
she
problem.
a co-host and that she's my spotlight for my black business tonight. So
Wonderful.
Trinita Marcel, Marcel Trinita. So
Hi,
Trinita, good to meet
Marcel.
you.
Marcel. So I would bring everybody on. I tell them, ask them, how do you know me? Get to meet me.
Man,
Always says something.
yeah, gosh, we can go back at least almost 10 years now, bowling. And when you were really, really heavy into bowling, really making a difference from a minority perspective, and, in bowling and showing me some stuff and, you know, trying out with
No.
an idea of trying to grow bowling in the area, youth bowling in the area. But then you had to move away. You had some family obligations and things of that nature, so that kind of fell by the wayside for a little bit. But since then, reconnected and just a good, overall good brother, good vibe. In the bowling world, you've been in it long as I have. He's related to one of the first families of bowling, the Tyler clan. And just overall good brother. We always talk about just real life stuff, and he's helped me out on some real life stuff. So the very least I could do is to help support him and jump in on this, and talk about whether it's the issues of that are going on now or just whatever. So.
All right, Marcel, it's on you, man. The floor is yours. Whatever you want to talk about. I know, like I said, the RNC has been was ended. We had the march today. You're first. Hold on, before you start that, make sure you hug and kiss that 23rd baby over there for me, because her birthday is August 23rd. My birthday is August 23rd. You tell her I said happy birthday.
No
or
doubt.
belated. All right. But yes.
I was going to say, as a matter of fact, she's in her room. So before I jump off, I'll make sure I'll bring her in.
Okay.
But man, when I tell you a night and day difference, a week and a week difference between the DNC and the RNC, where with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and just all the powerful speakers during the DNC and what they were, just putting out there, the energy that they were putting out there to everyone, the hopeful energy that they were putting out there was very infectious. It definitely, it lifted your spirit. And it was very fulfilling. But then on the flip side, you go to the RNC, you see the twisted nature, you see the lies, that was being spread. The non-mentioning, which is, again, back in the day, we called it hidden racism, but now the outwardly, the key, the current president that we have now has truly given the key and turned the key of that hidden racism to unlock the door of outwardly being racist. And you heard that whole rhetoric during the whole week, during the 4 days of the RNC. I try to pride myself on being a very spiritual man, and it's not about the people. It's not about flesh and blood. We're dealing with principalities that are really going on, good versus evil. This is really what this boils down to. But you can't help but to have the human factor, the human emotion factor of being upset. You're being upset about from George Floyd to this latest one with the gentleman, his name is escaping me right now.
Jacob
Blake.
In Wisconsin, right, Blake, Mr. Blake, and getting shot 7 times in the back. Now, which I saw was going to come. Now they're trying to discredit him. Now all of a sudden, this the sheriff's department or the Department of Justice within Wisconsin is trying to discredit, saying that there was potentially a knife in this gentleman's vehicle, that they were saying that that this gentleman had sexual assault had a sexual assault charge warrant on him, which has now all of a sudden been done away with, inconspicuously. But what was interesting, and I was watching CNN earlier in the week, and there was a white gentleman whose son was shot by police. And towards the end of his interview, he made mention to the commentator, be aware of the Wisconsin judicial system and the district attorney. Get an outside independent counsel, investigation done. Which right there let me know that this is going to be the biggest cover-up of all cover-ups. They're going to try to hide this because, again, it's on video. Yeah. Now, I am a law enforcement kid. My dad did 43 years of law enforcement between 23 in DC and 20 in Secret Service. I know the whole code about the badge. Grew up around it. And it is definitely the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule, where you have 90% of the police officers doing 10% of the work. You only have just those few that are actually doing policing. And policing is about protecting and serving. You protect and serve the citizens that you swore and took an oath with that badge when you pin that badge on your chest.
So Marcel, before you let me ask Trinita. Let me ask
a few things.
Let me ask Trinita what she felt. Marcel,
you have.
He can't hear me.
And Antwan, Booth. I'm used to calling you Booth, so I'm calling you Booth.
It's Booth for you. Go ahead.
As being a former military, the transition back is a tough thing. Yeah. And when you have military personnel who are transitioning back from overseas in a combat area, and being a father of a military, of a son who was in the military, having been overseas, never really saw combat, but again, being overseas and being in a different culture. And then for those who are served in any sort of war-torn area where the volatility is just a hair, it's a hair between civility and volatility. Mm-hmm. And to come back from that, and to be trained to be a lethal weapon, and to now come back into society, into a relatively calm society, and to try to now decompress from that, and a lot of them come from military back, into some sort of law enforcement capacity. You're asking them to now try to diffuse themselves.
And I said this. And I said this to
a lot of the law enforcement agencies or law enforcement, from a jurisdictional perspective, do not have the proper training, cultural training, to make these individuals aware that you're taking a white individual, you're taking most of white folks, white guys coming back from the military and put them into heavily African American populated areas and having them to understand the culture. They don't know how to diffuse a situation.
Wait. Because first, before I'm gonna let Trinita talk,
I can't hear you.
Okay. Hold on. Wait.
If Booth, you were trying to say something, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Mike.
I can't hear you. I'm good. You can hear me, Marcel. You can't hear me. You can hear me now?
I can hear you. I can't hear him.
Right. Can you hear me, Marcel? Give me a thumbs up.
I can hear you.
All right, bet. So first, the training about the military is you were. I'm gonna give you 80 to 95% spot on about they're trained to kill and they come back and they should have some type of reintegration before they be able to take on law enforcement with protect and serve. I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna leave that alone because Trinita has something on her face that I want her to express to say what you were thinking as he was talking. I'm gonna give you the stage, Trinita, and after you, Marcel, I'm gonna bring somebody else in that was downtown. Okay. I'm gonna try to bring Renee in and let Renee talk, and let's see if we can all four have a quick conversation. All right, go ahead, Trinita.
Sounds good.
So I have a lot of opinions about a lot of this, right? But I'm going to go into the space where you're talking about the training. So I've been talking to different police officers. I've even been talking to vets who became police officers after they served in the military. Um, Here's what we have to understand. They do get training. They get training every year. So I don't think it's adequate. I don't think it's enough, but there is a systemic implementation or in their mindset of how they think before they even set foot in their training facility, how they use the or apply the policies that are in place. That's where the racism comes from inside the person. The other side of it is
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember the police force was created back during slavery, and the intention of it was so that they can keep a stronghold over Black people. It's just what it was. And then we go back into the 13th Amendment. We have to remember that the 13th Amendment allows for slavery. It's basically slavery all over again, that, but just in a different capacity, right? We have it's so much involved in that. And that's why they say this it's systemic, because we understand that their goal is to make sure that we are kept, they keep their knees in our necks. That's all, that's the goal. That's
Yep.
it. Is to make sure that we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly afraid, constantly looking with our looking over our shoulder, constantly being cautious and worry, because the power is in our fear. So at some point we need to overcome that. But just keep in mind they get training all the time. The training is
Yeah.
always provided to them. It's how they implement and how they receive that training is what matters. Because keep in mind that
Mm.
we've been hearing this. There are good police on the force. There are some who really do mean well. Now I split them into categories. You're either seeing the bad police who don't show up and don't do, or you don't do anything about it, or you do hold the bad police accountable. It's we no longer have, there's no longer a line in the sand though. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
If you're silent, you're implicit.
Yeah.
We need more police officers to stand up and say something to who they know are bad cops. I was talking to a police officer the other day, and he was like, "We know that there are bad cops out here. We know, and we're not all like that. We're just," he said, "they're either racist or crazy." Listen, here's my thing. The process for me and when they're getting inducted into the police force is part of the problem. I personally feel like there needs to be more of a mental health assessment in terms of what your mindset is and how you feel about people in general, because you really think that when they're becoming cops that they're attuned to what's happening on the street, because really it's the street that matters. It's that's who's, it's the behaviors of people who are on the street. You have a connection, and there's a huge disconnect there. And then so with that they have a mindset, they have a mentality or an opinion that if you don't look like me, if you don't act like me, you don't talk like me, you don't sound like me, then, and I don't understand you, then they're allowed to think whatever they want. And a lot of the information they get from about Black people is inherited. It's through the years, and we can go
Yeah.
into different businesses to even see how inherent they just don't relate in terms of like how the way we wear our hair, the way we talk, the way we carry ourselves. But most of it's not real. Most of it's not true. I used to think, and I don't know how true this is because I've never lived in the Midwest, so I'm not going to, I can't speak to that specifically. But the way I understood it was because they never
Thank you.
saw Black people. You can't hear me? Can you hear me,
Thank you.
Antwan? Can,
Yeah, I can hear you.
can okay, I don't know what to tell.
I don't know.
But
Go ahead.
I in the Midwest, I used to feel like they only saw us on TV. So the mindset that they had or the opinion they had of us was either
Thank you.
from history, which in the history book is not always accurate, and then what they see on TV, and sometimes we don't always be depicted well. Either we're not depicted well on TV, or we're just not depicted enough. So now they're starting to get to understand who we are because we're on TV more, right?
Right.
We're in their faces more, so they're able to have an idea. But those are lies to them because they rather believe people who don't, who also don't know. That's my
Well,
opinion. So
listen,
it's not
Trinita,
just
I'm a segue bringing in Renee because Renee was down at the march, so I want to
okay.
hear what she has to say. I'm gonna try to hit. Hey, Renee, how are you?
Hello,
Can you hear
I'm
me?
well.
Good, Renee. These are my friends, and you are my
Hello,
friend.
friends.
Tell
Oh,
everybody that's
hello,
Trinita. Trinita's our black. I know you was listening. I know you've been in the
hey,
waiting room.
Booth,
Thank you
real
so
quick.
much.
This is
Yes.
Jasmine.
Hey, Jasmine. Happy birthday, belated 23rd, baby. How are you?
Happy birthday, Jasmine.
Listen,
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday. Listen, thank you.
So Renee, I appreciate you coming on all the way from Florida to DC. And I was like, ooh, Renee, I know you're gonna be downtown. Come on and talk to me. She was like, sure, I got you.
Hey,
Anytime I
hey,
call
Booth,
Renee,
I can't hear you now.
oh, okay, you can't hear me. I'm about to hang up on you.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Tell Marcel bye, Felicia. All right. So but Renee, every Friday night, I know I brief you on what's going on, but every Friday night I have a talk. We're doing COVID. A friend of mine was doing this just to check on his friends, making sure they was okay, talk about whatever issues they was. And I was like, well, man, that's a great idea. And I started doing it and it's evolving. So now I get to have four people on the screen where I could have one at a time. So and we are talking about all the things that matter: the RNC, the DNC, the march today, the killings, anything you want to talk about. If you just want to talk about your kids, I really don't care. I just want to hear how you feel, what's going on, and I really do. I do care because I want to hear how your march went today and tell me about that story.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Renee
Hold on,
Burlew,
sorry,
and
Berlo, sorry. You have to tell the people how you know me and how you met me.
I was about to till you
Okay.
stop me, sir.
Yeah, I didn't say it though.
I am Renee Burlew, and I met this gentleman here on the campus of Livingstone College, where we are alumnus, and so that's where I met Antwan. And I now reside in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, so I'm also from the Midwest. And my experience, just quick general background, my experience growing up in my community, we always had a Juneteenth celebration. So I've always had a big cultural influence. We have a big Black family reunion that everybody from the Midwest comes together. We have a lot of positive things like the Jazz Music Fest, which is similar to the Essence Fest, where a lot of people from a lot of urban cities come down. And so I've always been around a large group of positive Black just community and fellowship. And then I relocated to Florida because I wanted to be near a bunch of dolphins and beautiful weather and water. And I am in Trump County. Okay, so this was just an eye opening for me. It is very odd. I'm definitely outnumbered, and I could not wait. I ran me and my kids to jump on a plane to come here to DC to just be amongst my people again. So we were so happy to be here. From the moment we stepped off the airplane, I was surrounded by all these beautiful ethnic people who just greeted me with a smile, a warm, friendly face. We don't know nothing about the metro, and everybody was so polite to help us figure out how to get around. So that was just another familiar thing that I just loved about DC welcoming all of us out of towners on today. And the march was incredible. So I brought my three kids. They are 10, 9, and 5. And we marched, and they understood that it was hot, it was uncomfortable, and I said, now guess what? Dr. Martin Luther King used to march in a full suit in church shoes. So be happy I let you put on gym shoes, and we got to sit down. They took a nap outside underneath some trees in the shade. I mean, we made it work. We had tons of people coming together, giving us bottled water. And it was such a great fellowship. And I wanted to make sure that my kids were here to be a part of history. I said, now, when I was their age, I only read about the history books, I only read about the marches, and this is your chance to be a part of it. So other people will read about your experience here today. And so we got to hear tons of great organizers and great speakers and about all these people that are organizing in different towns and communities. And I'm happy that my kids were there to hear it. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s granddaughter gave a speech. And my kids were trying to stand on a park bench just to see who is this girl that sounds like she's my age giving a speech to get us energized and empowered. And it was just, I was happy that she was there. They let her speak because it just related to my kids. And it was just a wonderful experience. And I'm happy that we were here to be a part and hear so many beautiful stories of just organizers and the families of those that have tragically been lost to this gun violence. But the message of the march today was, it's not enough to just be out here marching. Now we have to take this home and we have to put all of this motivation into action. Now we need to vote early, grab as many people as you can, take them to the polls, help them to get the early vote out. So it was very encouraging, and I'm definitely on fire and ready to go back to Fort Myers, where I'm outnumbered, to still do my duty and to help my local NAACP and to continue to just vote, get the word out. And also, Reverend Al Sharpton made a very important point. Don't just vote for the next president. It's not enough to just get Biden and Harris in. You have to vote that whole ballot, from your local council members to whatever those issues are on your city ballot. Everything matters. So don't stop at just the top names and the big headlines. Research, find out what's going on in your area and vote that whole ballot. We need to get all of our people into all of our local offices, into your local Congress, into your local Senate. Everybody votes matters. And that was the theme of today. Everybody must vote.
You know, one thing that I pointed out as I was watching, because I sat my son down and I was just like, hey, let's watch a little bit of this so you can understand that the history is going on. I went through the first march and I went through, hey, I was at the Million Man, the 95 or 96, I can't remember. I was at that march and I didn't want to take you down there because I knew it would be hot. I was a little afraid of the violence that may have occurred just because I'm a native, right? Just because I've seen it. And I actually took Avery down to during the Trump inauguration, and it was so horrible. But it was just horrible. It was a good sight and good learning lesson for my son to see, but it was horrible. But today was tough to watch because every time we start talking about all these names, I picture myself. I picture a Marcel. I picture my sons. I picture his daughter. Like, I picture all these people, and it's like, wow, listening to Donald Trump. And I don't know if any of you listened to the hour speech that he had, but he did not mention black or brown people in a light where it was okay, you matter, or your cause matter, because it's the cause that we're fighting. He also went above and beyond to point out, if you're rioting or if you're protesting in your community, I'm looking for a way to bring in the National Guard to defuse or to destroy what you have on. And for him to divide the country through states, it scares me to a point where you're trying to cause a civil war where you're the head and dictator. If you didn't watch it, what was happening was it was totally illegal for him to have a campaign rally on the White House lawn. He used the White House and the monument and the city as a campaign rally, and that is in the Constitution. That is in the bylaws, and I don't know where it is right now, but I'll find it. And next Friday, I asked one of my frat brothers to come on to talk about our First Amendment and what is it for us to have that right to protest peacefully, like, and what is about it and why that the police don't get that it's a right, it's a First Amendment right to protest peacefully, and they have to tear gases and things like that. So we're gonna dig a little deeper into it, but it was, Renee, I don't think I would have been able to go down there with that smile you had today. It's been so much, and I know everybody was happy and we was together and we angry, but that ballot in November, if this guy has an opportunity to go for another 4 years, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to be a Putin. He's going to try to change laws. He's already, like I said, he already broke one of the biggest laws ever. He should be impeached. It can't be impeached. But since the Republicans are majority, they'll never pass it. And that says how it was explained or said to me that they live in a bubble. And anything outside of that bubble or any person outside of that bubble don't really matter to them. I don't care what color you are for real. And I had another conversation with it because it's some poor white people out here that if these laws change in a way, I got you, Trinita. If these laws change in a way that he's trying to change them, they're going to be affected too, and they're going to be trying to join the team, and we can be like, no, we don't want you on the team. You go over there and play somewhere. But I don't know. But go ahead, Trinita. I saw you. Go ahead.
The only thing I was going to add was that we care about the racism because at any level of classism, racism is a part of it, right? It's inherent in every level. But one of the reasons why we get so much pushback from Caucasian people is because of the classism that happens. And you're right, classism. There's the elite 1% that you keep hearing so much about, the 1%, and then it's the 2% on down. Like at some point, they're classified, and so they are treated a different way based on how they're seen and perceived in society as well. So they're little they push back on on Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter because they feel like they don't matter either. But here's my point. Here's my thing. If you are a part of the ostracized community, whatever color you are, you should be angry at every person who's pushed back on. I don't understand and I can't accept people saying having issues with Black Lives Matter, for instance, just because you're not included in that space. Well, you are in a space where you matter. You need to push back. So, but don't say that we don't matter because of that. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody was saying earlier about if you're saying that if you put a color in front of Lives Matter, then you're racist. And I was like, that's not accurate at all, because it is a thing where Black lives, we inherently feel that we don't matter to a certain group of people, and we do. The point is we do, and it is what it is. It's not an argument, and we're not saying that all lives don't matter or only Black lives matter. We are saying we're included in that number because we weren't included in the Constitution.
Correct.
We're technically 3/5 of a person in the Constitution still to this day. So like that's it frustrates me, but that's my point.
But you're absolutely right, and it's just amazing how this goes. It was scary to watch last night. It really, honestly, was scary. I watched bits and pieces of the first 3 days, but I was like, I'm gonna tune in on this and watch it. It was scary. But Renee, that's off my soapbox about that. Finish telling me about whatever you want, because this is your shine right now, and I want to talk to you a little bit before we go.
No, it was don't get me wrong, pieces of the rally, I was in tears because I'm a mother first. And so just, hearing all these kids slain, and I'm always reminded of Tamir Rice. And so I'm constantly reminding my kids that, in 2 years, my daughter will be the age that Tamir was murdered for having a gun in a park, a toy gun though. Let's just be clear. It was a toy. There was no weapons. He wasn't going to hurt anyone. And he was killed within 30 seconds of the police arriving to the park. And so all these conversations that are constantly being brought up about, us having to learn how to act around the police. And it's like, well, we can't change our color when the police arrive. So the police need to learn how to act when they come to our neighborhoods or when they come and interact with us, because I'm going to be a person of color first. You see that when you walk up on me. But they know how to talk. They know how to have hostage negotiations. They know how to de-escalate Caucasians when they're out here with weapons, and when they're out here murdering people, they're taken down alive. But there's only an issue when it's people of color. Now it's our job to remain calm. And so, of course, these are the conversations that we are having. And while I am in Fort Myers, Florida, outnumbered, I am learning to be able to have these conversations without getting so emotional, I guess, just so, there's always this stereotype of, emotional Black women. So it's trying to have these conversations to educate the people around me of, okay, let's think about this. The first time someone sees me, you can see my skin color first, and then you've already prejudge me based upon whatever those notions are that you have of African Americans. So to come here, to be surrounded by a sea of, and that's another thing. So in the sea of peaceful protesters and marchers, there were all different ethnicities. So we appreciate all of the allies that came out to support us, because obviously, you know, change takes all of us. And it was refreshing for my kids to see that it was not just Black people marching to save Black people's lives, that there were Latinos, that there were Caucasians, that there was all different people. There were Asians out there in support of us. So it was very refreshing for us to see that, you know what, a lot of people know that we matter, and a lot of people, you know, want to protect us and help that my son can grow up and have a future too. So that was refreshing. So it was really great to be here.
Listen, like I said, me and Avery sat and watched on TV, and it was emotional to just watch. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Marcel, let me ask you one question before we wrap it up in a few, and I'm gonna take the last couple minutes. But let me ask you, because I know you have a son and a daughter, and I just got two boys, and I don't know the conversations that y'all having in the house, but I know you personally, so I know you're having some conversations in the house. So, or to your son. So tell me how you feel about what's going on when it comes to being a father of both a female and a male. As a Black male, and that's where I'm coming from as a Black male. Did I lose you, Sam? I did. I think I lost Sam. Well, I did. Well, I'm going to say, Trinita, since I lost Sale, and Sale don't want to talk to me right now, he's just looking at me. Trinita, tell the people about your business who didn't drop on earlier. Tell them about your business, and I know it's in the chat, but tell them a little bit about your business before we go.
Free to Fly is the first front-facing portion of our business, which is actually called Freedom. I'm sorry, FlyLytical podcast is the first front-facing segment of Free to Fly. We are in season 2. We just started episode 1 last week. We'll be moving forward. We have 12 episodes in a season. We're really excited because we were nervous getting started, but we did really well. And I'm excited. We talk about a lot of this stuff too. We talk about social topics, current events, politics, and I have a business partner, Jere, who works alongside me on the podcast as well.
Well, I listen. I'm asking on one of those episodes to be a guest, so write me down, even if it's season 3 or season 4. But make sure you put me down. I'd love to be a part of that. So, Sal, let's see if Sal can hear me now, or if he gonna look at me crazy. Sal, you hear me? Nope. Still can't hear me? Nope.
I don't know if you all can hear me, but I can only hear one person. I don't hear Booth and I don't hear Trinita.
Okay.
Right, well, let me ask the question for you then, Antwan. His question, Marcel, was, what are the questions that you're having with your son and daughter as a Black man? What are the current conversations you're having about the conditions and the time that we're in? Was that right, Antwan?
Okay. Couldn't have said it better myself the second time.
Some very tough decisions and tough conversations, because I'm scared. I'm scared for them. And now having a grandson who is a biracial child. He is half African American, half Jamaican, but still a person of color. So now I have my youngest son will be 21 in December and a junior in college, and my older son is 26. So having these type of conversations of how to act, or what to do around a police officer, or if you was to get stopped, or the company that you keep, and just being out and about, it's disheartening, because you want to be able to know that your children are going to be safe and protected by law enforcement, because again, that's what we were taught, growing up. But now to see these images, and they're adults, they see these images out here now, and to now feel as though that they're being hunted, because that's what these images are starting to look like. And it's eerily similar to back 50 some years ago. That when our ancestors, or when Martin Luther King and John Lewis, of the world, those who were true pillars in the civil rights movement, when we're being treated as though the only thing left that they haven't done is use daggone fire hoses on us, but they're using something more lethal. They're using weapons. They're using guns. And now when you have a 17-year-old who is going around thinking, who is not even a resident of the state, with a firearm, and feeling as though that he is protecting, or he feels he's well within his right to protect, businesses that he has no interest in, but yet, and walk past National Guard, walk past police officers in that particular area, even to the point of offering him bottled water. But yet you have an individual who can go into a church in South Carolina and murder 3 individuals, and then they offer this man. When they caught him, they took him to McDonald's. There is no consequence. Let it be someone. Let it be one of us that was walking with a long gun. Let it be, or if my son, my older son, who he carries because he's former military, and he's in an area where it's a stand your ground type of area. But then if he was to come around with either a sidearm or a long gun, and he's going to automatically get accosted, he's going to get just fronted by police officers to no end. There is the double standard is so disheartening, and trying to explain that to your children is difficult in its own right. And you run out of words because you're getting exhausted and seeing these images. And I've been on the brink of tears because I just don't know what to say anymore. I asked my dad, again, someone who's been in law enforcement for 40 some years, and I'm asking him, what do I tell my kids now? What do I tell my sons? And he, and I love my dad dearly, but he was kind of giving me the standard answer because he doesn't know at this point. Again, someone who's well versed in law enforcement, he just doesn't know anymore. We used to have these answers. We just don't know anymore because it is a hunt. It is a witch hunt at this point.
Renee, tell him I said thank you because I know he can't hear me.
Antwan said thank you, Marcel.
Thank you. So I got one more person.
Y'all heard that. That was too much to interpret, but okay. Okay.
We heard you loud and clear, Marcel.
So I got one more person, and Renee, I don't know if you want to stick around and stay on and while we talk to Roy, but you're willing to. If not, you can hop off. I appreciate you joining me. You know you need the same thing. Somebody tell Sal if he wants to hop off, he's willing to. If he wants to stick around, that's good, Renee. Give me my translation.
Marcel, Antwan said you're free to stick around if you want to, or you can hop off at any time.
Because I know there's substantive stuff that's being said, but I don't sign and I don't read lips. So, and all I know is, and I'll say this as just a little poke at Antwan. You better bowl your tail off come Sunday. Cause you know your girl, they try to make that move, and you know how you battle.
I got him. I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about it at all.
Tell her that Sunday, okay? Bring her spirit back there. It was a pleasure meeting everyone. Pleasure talking with you. From what I heard, I know it's substantive. Let's just continue to move forward, and God bless everyone, and just stay safe.
Nice to meet you, Marcel.
All right, man.
Listen, I got a buddy of mine that I'm gonna bring on also. So let's bring Roy in so we can have a quick conversation with Roy. What's going on, Roy? How are you today, bro?
Hi, how you doing, man? How's it?
Man, I can't complain. I can't call it. Roy, Trinita's our Black Business spotlight tonight. Renee is a good friend from college who was down at the march, so I had her on. So we's talking. So I just been waiting for you to come on to just give your perspective. You gotta tell everybody how you know me, how we met, and then you can go ahead and the floor is yours. We got about a good 5 minutes to let you talk about whatever you need to talk about tonight.
That's cool, man. I'm sorry I got in late. The traffic and rain in this area, but
Yeah, I hear it.
I met Mr. Brown, man. Actually, we met in the 100 Black. Was it a 100 Black Man event or something like that?
Yeah.
We connected after that and played golf a couple times, and golf is a great way to meet great people, because I haven't met anybody that I don't like yet. So, other than that, I'm a business owner and up in Colombia. I do federal contracting and things, and I met Antwan as I was going to start start my journey into the I guess the 100 Black Men code or whatever, and I decided not to, and now I'm up in Baltimore running a nonprofit, but that's something totally different. However, what's the topic today, man? I'm trying to figure out.
Man, we talked about the DNC, the RNC, the march today. Renee, I asked Renee to join because she was down at the march and she was kind of giving us her perspective as a black woman and taking her 3 kids down there. And Trinita runs a podcast that talks about a lot of these topics. So we just had Marcel's on, Black Man. I know you got 2 kids. So we just been on that topic of how you feel about the RNC's convention, the DNC's convention, and even the march today. So,
okay.
any of that, yeah.
Just to give my perspective, I've told you several times, I'm not, the greatest when it comes to politics, because I call it on both sides. But I feel like one side was playing off of sympathy and the other one was playing off of fear. And I think there was 2 dangerous games that they were playing with folks, because I think that social media and the media knows that they play off of everyone's emotions. And what happened in Wisconsin is a direct reflect of, the RNC's whole fear thing, because they feel like Portland is without police and things of that nature. And that's not the case. You have people out there that want to get that claim to fame. They want that moment in the light. Everybody's willing to do anything to be trending on social media. So, I mean, and it goes from our president all the way down. So, I mean, we've turned into a world of what I would call attention whores. And I'm just giving it to you real, you see it from the celebrities all the way down. I mean, it's unfortunate. But I did kind of like what I seen today. Watching the speeches and things like that. My business partner is a Trump supporter, so I cut it on. I cut it on every channel, man. I had it on every TV in the office. I think we got like 12 TVs in there. I put it on 12 TVs because I'm that. But I really I did like what I seen. Hopefully we as a community can unite and get through this. And I mean, I think we've gotten the attention. I just hope we don't destroy it with taking the focus off of what we're trying to strive to be as a community, as a culture, and things like that, and not go back to what this celebrity said or what this person said or what that person said.
Yeah.
I really get caught up in I'm kind of jaded because I see how many people get caught up in what celebrities say and what what these politicians say, and I'm like, yo, they're human just like us. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna, make comments. I don't know when we started idolizing these folks as if they can't do any wrong or they're not gonna say anything wrong. I'm like, yo, hey, they're gonna say and do whatever they feel, just like we do every day. But we idolize them. We get upset at people because they, because they don't think like us, and it's hard to have dialogue like that now.
So the one thing that I'm hoping that comes out of it is the dialogue piece, because me being an inspiring elected official is one of the reasons why we started this right here. Because we pointed out last week that and while we was watching the tape of last week's show,
Mhm.
is that I don't think people think that we all are politically savvy enough because we don't look like them. Or it's a certain type of black person that's savvy enough to be astute in the political game or understand what goes on. And then even if if I, let's say I'm the chosen one to be in front of, they still look at me as being how you're supposed to look as a politician. And when I talk to people every day, I'd be like, no, we all are political. We all need to know. We know when our trash need to be taken out, what our kids need to be doing. When the gas prices go up, when the gas prices go down, and what's affecting the world. We all political, and just the fact that I can talk to all you different faces and all you different backgrounds to hear your perspective, to be like, oh, okay. The purpose of this is to let everybody start seeing it's not one look or one sound when it comes to us as black people and how we view our political platform. So I know Trinita and Renee, I know Roy don't like this political stuff, and he does stay gray. But I asked him to come on because he always give a good perspective on one, how to run a business as a black man and make his money within a system that's really, and I'm gonna say it, Roy, you're not saying it, that's not built for you. I'm saying it, you're not saying it. I'm just putting that out there. He's running a successful business that's not on a playing field for him, but still maintaining who he is as a black man. And I've always respected you, brother. I appreciate everything you're doing and continue doing for your community and your family. So I just wanted to say that out before, publicly and on live recorded, before we get off here. So I appreciate you coming on through.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Trinita, one last thing before we wrap it up.
Okay.
Go for it. Anything you got?
Uh, oh, I I was so interested in what everybody was saying. I think that we made some really good points today. Some things that I'm going to definitely turn over and think about, because that's what I do. I think it's important that uh, to Roy's point, I think it's really important that we do see both sides, because a lot of times I do find myself as a liberal thinking person to sometimes not think about or not be willing to adhere to what conservative thought process is. The problem that I have, I think, is mostly because it's not just the mindset, but it's also the behavior of the people who those opinions belong to that makes it difficult for me to listen. But I do think it's on paper it looks great. I learned about it. I learned about politics in school, and I learned about Republican and Democrat platforms in college. And I learned very early on that I lean liberal, and I'm fine with that. But I also learned the importance of listening to both sides of the aisle. And I also learned the importance of not just being on one side or the other, because we're not always right or wrong. Um, and
That's right.
sometimes there is a middle ground, and that's where our answers are. At the end of the day, especially when it comes to Black people and the fight that we are working so heavily on right now, is about understanding and acceptance, and that's really what we're looking for. Um, and that's just pretty much my opinion right now.
Thank you, Trinita. Renee, anything before we wrap it up?
Is my okay. So no, just I guess some follow-ups, or my last piece of advice would be for all the young people that are out there: continue to get organized, get motivated, continue to take the lead, start your own, voting campaigns, different things. And I personally, Antwan, don't watch the RNC because I just, I like to watch my movies on Blockbuster and not during political season. But for those of you that do, keep us abreast, because I just have zero tolerance for his foolishness. I feel like, when you put a clown in office, then he's going to orchestrate a circus. So, but for the young people, get your kids out to educate them. I brought mine to be a part of history, and I'll definitely research the topics in my hometown. And so my kids go with me every year, every season to vote, because I want to make sure they understood that at some point somebody in my family couldn't vote, didn't have that right, didn't have that privilege. So I don't want to waste my opportunity.
Renee, you kind of told your age because Blockbuster ain't been around in about 15, maybe 20 years. But you're right. He is definitely giving you some Blockbuster materials too. But Renee, you have to watch the RNC because it's a whole different world out there that we're not a part of, that their perspectives is being skewed through what they think. So when you be
No, but I'm living in it. I'm in a red state. I'm in a Trump county, and it is scary, and I live it, and I
all
don't
right,
need to see
all
it.
right, I don't want no
It was
parts of that. But you're right.
it was
But
a hard watch, I tell you that much.
it was a hard watch.
I can imagine.
It was a hard watch. But listen, y'all, man, I appreciate y'all jumping on here. I'm gonna close with I didn't share earlier, and I think everybody on the phone on the screen knows that I'm getting my doctoral degree in social work. School started, school started last week, and one of my teachers told me I play too much, and then the next teacher gets on and told me, "Come on, man, laugh a little bit," and I'm like, "Man, that's refreshing." But in order to be successful in this program, you got to kind of have your mind open to changes rapidly and be able to retain and process information rapidly. And I feel like as a voter right now, that's what kind of the process we in. So be able to change up and down. They're going to throw things at us. Even with the Black Lives Matter, they're going to try to make it seem like it's the worst thing ever. My baby, hey Echo. So everything that we doing right now, make sure you stay on top of it. If you haven't gotten your mail-in ballot and you live in Maryland, the mail-in ballot request, you text FBM to 7788. It'll send everything to you automatically. You just do the application online. If we'll be back here next Friday at 5:30, 6:30. Trinita's information is in the chat, so make sure you check out her podcast. Roy, thanks again. Renee, thank you. I love you as always for joining me. Marcel, if you still on there listening, thank you for jumping on. Man, I appreciate y'all, and y'all make sure y'all tell somebody to like my page. Tell them to join me when they can, so we can get some comments, and hopefully we can just bring some people in on some of the stuff. Trinita's face tonight was priceless. If y'all missed it, she was like, I'm ready. So make sure y'all listening to Trinita's podcast. So hearing her co-host. What's your co-host name again, Trinita?
Jeray Williams.
And Miss Williams, so she can come on and you guys go ahead and do y'all thing, man. Once again, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all joining me. I'll talk to you all soon, and we're gonna wrap this thing up, and we'll see y'all next time.
Good night.
Have a good one, bro.
All right, bro.